What's up everybody, welcome back to a brand new video on Lexalexus. Today we've got a championship review, so we're going to break down everything that we saw in the past couple of days regarding championship football, some shock results and some twists and turns in the middle part of the table especially. We've also got some midweek games, a full round of midweek games to predict. So we have got so much to cover today and I'm really excited to cover all of that for you. For the Prediction League, ladies and gentlemen, all you got to do is look at the latest community tab post where I'll be updating the Championship one, and the Premier League and Prediction League table will be pending as well, but that is nearly done as well. So I've been rather impressed how up to date I've been in keeping the Prediction Leagues, but and at what cost? There is quite a heavy cost that I am burdening at the moment. So what I will say, I've got holiday from my full-time work coming up very, very soon. And it may be that I will have more time to make content with you, but it's also going to give you guys a good update of where I stand with the current future of this channel. So make sure guys, you pay attention to the next couple of videos that I do in the next couple of weeks. If you guys like what you see, please give the video a like. It just tremendously helps the growth of this channel. You guys smashed the like button on my last video. I am so impressed. You doubled my like target. I'm going to keep it on 30 likes to see what sort of standard I need to expect for these types of videos. If you can smash the like button again, that would be amazing. Please hit the subscribe button as well down below if you've not done so as well, because I mean that was also a surprise as well. We gained so many subs from my last video, so thank you guys so much for the support of the channel. It actually really does help, because it's been a lot more exhausting and more in a way just gives more of an impact towards me mentally and physically doing these videos now. So seeing that really did actually help. So thank you guys so much for that, and please share the video and share this channel to as many people as you can, as we are trying to close in on 2,000 subscribers. We're making some really good progress with that. But I've already waffled on for nearly 2 minutes of my recording. Let's actually go through everything that has been taking place for the championship this weekend. Friday night's game saw Stoke and Blackburn play a 5-goal thriller. I've got to be honest, I did not expect that many goals. I predicted 2-1 Blackburn, it ended 3-2 Stoke, and the damage was done when Stoke went 3-0 up, and Kijana Herva getting 2 goals in that first half, I think really killed Blackburn's chances. Even that late comeback that they had with Brereton Diaz and Sam Gallagher scoring within 2 goals within 4 minutes actually. But unfortunately, the damage was already done to repeat. Tyrese Campbell, when it was 3-0, I thought Stoke have actually done this here. If you see stats here, 14 shots to 9, 5 shots to 2. So I still say Blackburn were quite clinical with the chances that they were able to create, but Stoke clearly actually had a lot of things clicking. Great build up actually to their first goal, a brilliant cross by Gale to find whoever, and then Josh Laurent, brilliant solo work on his part to actually find the loose ball to find whoever again. So honestly, some great individual performances there. I think this has actually been one of the more complete performances I've seen for Stoke. Blackburn defensively not particularly great. This is their first defeat in 10. It still sees Blackburn within the top 6 on 58 points, but definitely right now they've got to make sure that they bounce back if they want to have any chance of the top 6 with Stoke. They don't really have anything going for them, but for the fact that they're 14th, they could have a top half finish if they carry on, and that will be a sign of progress for Stoke, all things considered, for what they've had in previous years. Saturday's early game saw Bristol City beat Blackpool by 2-0, and that is exactly what I predicted as well. That was correct score number 1. And the 2 goal scorers was Andre Weirman and Alex Scott. An incredible stat about Andre Weirman is that this is his first goal in his last 32 appearances. And it just occurred to me that we were really praising Weirman at the very start of the season for how much of an impact that he's had. But he's had such a massive goal drought to get to that stage. So this is a very crucial goal for Andre Weirman there. And Alex Scott, this is his first league goal this season, I believe. I think he's scored in cup games. but this is his first league goal this season to make it 2-0. And I'm going to say Blackpool, they did have their chances. Jerry Yates missed a one-on-one chance there, and Blackpool at the end rallied and created a couple of things. But overall, Bristol City looked very much in control. 18 shots to 5, 3 shots on target to 2. So I still think being more clinical for Bristol City is something that they've got to work on. But a win is a win. A 2-0 win is a good result for them. And that sees them in 13th place in the table. A decent position for them to be in, with Blackpool now 6 points off safety. I think it's going to be very, very difficult to see Blackpool survive this season, just with the lack of goals. I think it's going to be really tough for Blackpool to survive. I really hope I'm proved wrong, but I think it's going to be almost curtains. I think this quick turnaround of games are going to be very important for Blackpool. Pick up a couple of wins, considering the vulnerability that Cardiff are going to have with lacking a good goalkeeper. Blackpool really need to capitalise on the next couple of games and try and pick up even just draws to the best that they can, because these sorts of results cannot slide when you try and survive in the Championship. We've now finally made it to the 3 o'clocks. Birmingham and Rotherham ended 2-0 to Birmingham. I definitely got this wrong. I originally predicted a draw in this game, and Birmingham have finally got themselves back into winning ways for what has been quite a very poor run of form to get them to the stage that they managed to get themselves. That first goal by Rida Kadra was brilliant play by Chong to find Lukas Jukovic just in the edge of the box, and Rida Kadra on the left hand side doing a fantastic run and scored in a pretty good angle actually to manage to get the ball into net to make it 1-0. Kevin Long didn't score in quite the same spectacular fashion, but it's still a goal to make it 2-0 to Birmingham there. And whilst Rotherham looked like that they did have a good promising start in that second half in terms of their momentum, ultimately it was Birmingham that just created the better chances. For Rotherham to only have one shot on target in 13, this was clearly not their day, and they really did not have that same level of clinical ability that I've been praising Rotherham in their previous games. Definitely a shadow of the team that I've seen for them this season. Birmingham, with that win, overtake Rotherham themselves to go on to 42 points and 18th place in the table. Rotherham fall down to 20th, but considering they are 8 points clear of the bottom 3 as it stands, I think it's going to have to take an almighty collapse to see Rotherham go down. I think they've already built themselves a decent platform to survive. Now it's just making sure that they still have that confidence to pick up winnable points in winnable games. I mean, this game just wasn't fair for Wigan. It ended Burnley 3, Wigan 0. And, I mean, the warning signs were there when Nathan Teller scored a very early goal within the 14th minute. And Wigan, bless them, were down to 10 men in the 28th minute, meaning they had to play a whole 62 minutes of football plus stoppage time, over an hour, down to 10 men against top of the league Burnley. It really did at times look like men versus boys. But I would actually give Wigan a tiny little bit of praise for the fact that actually they did have 2 big chances, which were their 2 shots on target. Those 2 shots on target, they were actually quite unlucky not to actually get more out of them there. You can see one big chance missed because at times Burnley actually did show a bit of a lack of care actually when they were trying to defend a lead. But they were really nice in a way that they were against a very wasteful team like Wigan, low on confidence and just don't have that same level quality to punish teams when they concede those chances. You can see the possession 79% to 21%, 27 shots to 2. I mean, that is really one-sided football. Burnley have already broken the 80 points region. 10 games left, maximum points they can get is 110 points, so they're still on course to break the record. But, as I said, they've got to be pretty fortunate now if they are going to achieve it. Just goes to show how tricky it is to beat that record with Wigan. Still joint last with Huddersfield and Blackpool, but that goal difference has definitely taken a bit of a hit following that 3-0 defeat. And, yeah, 6 points of safety. You know, it's not impossible with 10 games left, but they don't want that gap increasing considering, you know, after the midweek games, they have under 10 games left to save themselves. It's really not looking great for that bottom 3. And Wigan is definitely a culprit of one of these teams just not looking promising to survive the Championship season. Coventry and Hull played off a 1-1 draw. And just a side note before I talk about this game, a huge congratulations to Matt SB, who has officially become a father. my thoughts and respect and prayers all go to you, because it's going to be a rough ride, but a very rewarding one at the same time. You have my support and everything going forward with that. I hope that it's a very, very smooth ride, and there's no doubt in my mind Coventry have actually picked up a half decent result. Definitely could have been a better result within those circumstances there. Oscar Estupina looked like that he was going to ruin your perfect day when it was 1-0 within the second half. And at that time, Coventry, I thought, were the better team, but Hull did actually miss some big chances when they actually were 1-0 up. So Coventry, for the fact that he got that equaliser with Matt Gordon, it was a brilliant bit of timing on their part, because after when Hull did score, it looked like that they were starting to grow into the game and it was going to be unreachable for Coventry to get something here. 25 shots to 11, 6 shots on target to 3, so you can clearly see that it was Coventry having more the ball, asking more questions, creating more chances, not being very clinical with it, but eventually having that patience and perseverance, it paid off. They managed to earn that draw, the only draw actually this weekend as well, out of all the championship games. It sees Coventry still unbeaten for quite a fair amount of time on 53 points in 9th place of the table. With Hull City, they are in 15th place currently with 46 points, same amount of points as Stoke. I think likewise with Stoke, could carry on this form, they could finish top half, and that would be definitely an improvement considering how both of these teams started really poorly at the beginning part of that season. Do not scratch your eyes. We have got 2 goals to dissect in Deepdale. Preston 2, Cardiff 0. The 2 lowest goal scorers in the league going up against each other. It was destined to be a 0-0 draw. I went for a 1-0 Cardiff win, so I was a little bit wrong on that. I was right to say that there was not going to be many goals. I mean, anyone could have predicted that. But in the end, it actually turned out to be Preston's day. And Tom Cannon, actually, who scored the goal, actually had the best chance of the game before managing to get that opening goal. So in a way that he did kind of deserve managing to get that goal in the end. Great work by Cunningham for the assist there. And then the shocking part for Cardiff is that their goalkeepers, whether it's a reserve or substitute goalkeeper, just don't learn from their leader's mistake. Because obviously Allsop got sent off in their last game due to a foul outside the box. And what happens here? Jack Ornwick gets outside the box, concedes a foul, gets a straight red card again. So Cardiff have had 2 first-choice goalkeepers sent off within 2 games. So it's going to be interesting to see who they field in goal in terms of their next tie. Ched Evans looked like that he managed to score following the build-up from the resulting free kick from that. And that win for Preston actually stretches their unbeaten run for a tiny little bit. You can see Preston are now looking like that they're starting to get a good unbeaten run going and getting their act together now, which is really good on that part. Cardiff, it's not a great defeat considering how good their form was, but they'll be blessed in a way that also the rest of that bottom 6, they lost the game as well. So in a way, Cardiff didn't lose any ground actually. They could have made ground with a win, but they didn't lose it either. So Cardiff were quite nice considering the results elsewhere that they managed to receive. I cannot believe what I'm seeing. QPR, after the 19th time of asking, have won a game of football. Wow. Unbelievable. Miracles can really do happen in the Championship, and it's against a Watford team who are just falling apart this season. It's their 3rd manager that they've had in Chris Wilder. Obviously, he's not had a lot of time to get his team prepared into this game, and maybe that's what I should have considered into that game, because I did predict a Watford win. I mean, to be fair, it's because QPR just looked like a shadow of the team that we saw them at the start of the season and just lacked confidence, so I just did not see them winning this game. But how wrong was I? Tim Bunam managed to get the only goal to make it 1-0 QPR. Whilst Watford, as you can see, had a late surge to get something, QPR held on and were brave for it and actually had more shots on target. So for Watford to be that dominant with 60% of the ball to only have 9 shots and only 2 shots on target, what on earth were they doing on the ball? Watford fans, let me know what you think of your team's current display in the comments, because that is baffling for the fact that, they would have been the favourites, with their quality, but to ask that little, that is shocking. And if they're not careful, Watford, they could fall in the bottom half of the table. At this moment of time, their chances of getting to the top 6 are fading away. They're 6 points off it. It's not impossible. You know, I'm not saying it's impossible that they are unable to get it, but right now they're going to want to have a lot to go their way, and it is going to be a lot for them. It's going to be very, very difficult for them to see if they can get back into the top 6. It's not going to be easy. QPR with that win, I mean, look at that. That was awful form. Now with that win, it looks much nicer on 42 points, same as Birmingham. I'm now going to be intrigued to see if QPR can now build up from this. You know, is this going to be a one-off, or are they going to start to get some consistency down? I would really, really hope so. And I'm pleased for Gareth Ainsworth that he managed to find a win for QPR. We'll see now if QPR are now going to gather some consistency going forward. I wouldn't hold your breath if I was a Reading fan. They lose again, 1-0 against Millwall this time. Obviously, there is a points deduction looming for Reading, still uncertain on the number of points they'll lose out on. If it's 6, like what most people are suggesting it's going to be, they'll be on 38 points and practically will swap places with Cardiff in a way, because I think their goal difference is worse than Cardiff looking at those stats. But regardless, it's still a 6-point gap actually from the bottom 3. So I think even in a way, if they do get that points deduction coming very, very soon, at this moment, I think Reading will be okay, and they'll be pleased that they've actually built such a big gap originally from the relegation pack. Now, the only goal came from the penalty spot. It was Andres Vogelsammer that managed to score from the resulting penalty. So it was definitely a very scrappy game, a game that did have chances, but to be fair, both teams actually did well in a way to try and limit the team from creating a lot. I mean, Reading didn't have a single shot on target despite having 60% of the ball. And despite Millwall having 6 shots, they only had 1 on target, which was their penalty. So definitely not the best game for the neutral to watch, but it's an ugly win for Millwall, and they are brilliant at those. That win puts them back into the top 6, and they've capitalised with Norwich losing this weekend as well. So Millwall will be really, really pleased with that. With Reading, I've already talked about with their circumstances at the moment. We just got to wait to see what happens in terms of their disciplinary records, in terms of the breaches they've had in their previous couple of seasons. A very intriguing game near the top of the table sees Sheffield United lose 1-0 to Luton Town. Now, I predicted a 0-0 draw, and I wasn't too far away. I was correct to think that there wasn't going to be many goals. But Luton Town, fair play to you. 53rd minute, Carlton Morris with link-up play with Adebayo manages to get the only goal to break Sheffield United's hearts. And one of the biggest talking points of this weekend is how the gap between second and third has been reduced to 4 points. Same games have been played between Middlesbrough and Sheffield United now. So that is really going to pose a very intriguing end to the season. Both Sheffield United and Middlesbrough have got tough games coming up. Both still have Burnley to play, for instance, which will be very, very interesting how they're going to cope with Burnley just running away with it with this season. But this game here, Luton with that win, that really helps their top 6 chances. I mean, look at this. They're on 60 points, 3 points behind Middlesbrough. So I'm not ruling out Luton Town yet either, if they carry on with their brilliant form, actually. And Blackburn might sneak in, but I think at the moment, just a lack of their consistency, I'm not going to back them. Those 3 teams from 2nd to 4th, who knows what they'll achieve. And Luton are slowly but surely trying to creep in this promotion battle. And that is brilliant mindset for Luton to be thinking in that manner. If you look at those stats, 10 shots to 6, 5 shots to 1. So in terms of shots on target, it was very one-sided. And in fact, Luton Town scored with their only shot on target. A complete efficiency going forward for Luton Town there. But despite that, what we did see here is that both teams had their big moments there. Sheffield United, whilst they did that big missed chances, they weren't really chances that was really testing with Horvath for what I saw in goals. So I do think Sheffield United just need a bit more confidence in that final third, just a little bit more cutting edge when they're called upon with it. So I think there are issues there. They just need a couple of games to make sure that they carry on with this gap. They have got a 4-point gap. Middlesbrough, the pressure will be on them to try and stay consistent. But Sheffield United, they've really got to make sure they have that same mindset now. They need to switch their mindset, thinking, right, we need to show Middlesbrough that it's not going to be easy to nick second place off of us. You know, they were within over double digits of points away, and the fact that they've closed it down to 4 points, it shows you that Sheffield United collapsing, but it also highlights how well Middlesbrough have recovered this season. Luton Town, again, you know, my respect for them just goes higher and higher. They are defying the odds, and fair play to them and Rob Edwards, because they're having a terrific season. Speaking of Middlesbrough, they managed to come back from falling behind at halftime. You can see it was 1-0 to Swansea going into halftime. And actually that first half performance from Swansea, you know, when they got the goal, it was a little bit against the run of play. But actually when they scored, Swansea actually dictated play quite well. It did feel like that the players were rallying together. You know, that it's almost like their futures were on the line, trying to save Russell Martin from all the pressure that he's been getting because Swansea's performances and form has just not been good enough, really. And when they were 1-0 up at halftime, this was just the perfect opportunity to try and kill off a really informed team. Unfortunately, whilst they also started the second half quite well, Middlesbrough got their goal against the runner play as well. And the difference is, as soon as they got that first goal, they smelt blood. Aaron Ramsey getting the first one, Cameron Archer getting the second, and then it got from bad to worse when a penalty was conceded. Chuba Akpom, the top goal scorer, makes it 3-1, and just like that, Middlesbrough looked like that they managed to get through Swansea within a breeze in the end by the looks of things. 14 shots each, 7 shots to 5. So in a way, it was actually quite an even game. You know, so 3-1 is not necessarily a fair scoreline looking at those stats especially. But Middlesbrough, as I said, they just have that experience of confidence on knowing how to kill teams off. Middlesbrough now, as I said, they are only 4 points off second place, and they have got a really strong chance now to get into that second place. I didn't back them, but right now, I think you really got to back them right now. They really look like a team that will not be stopped anytime soon. Meanwhile, with Swansea, you can see here, they're now below Reading in the table. They're down 17th place, 43 points, only 5 points ahead of 21st place Cardiff. And 4 defeats in their last 5 is just not good enough. You know, there's no excuse to be having that poor run of form there. And it's another example where they lead a game and they drop points on winning positions. They did it when they drew against Rotherham, and they've now done it when they took the lead against Middlesbrough as well. So disappointing game management for Swansea, and they've really got to try and find a way to get that form and momentum back. We were seeing their praises at the start of the season, but it's gone south. Big time for Swansea. They really got to evaluate what they're going to do moving forward. Final game of for Saturday, 3 o'clock, sees West Brom and Huddersfield, and I predicted 1-0 West Brom. It's another score I got predicted correctly, so it's the second correct score that I had, and it was practically what I expected. It was a very scrappy game made by Neil Warnock's very tough to break down Huddersfield team. The only difference was from a penalty scored by John Swift, and actually since that penalty it looked like that West Brom, despite having a lot of the attack momentum, just couldn't break them down. 30 shots to 4 shots on target to 1. You know, I mean, I'm sorry, Huddersfield, if you are trying to survive the season, you need to do more than 4 shots and only having 1 on target. I know you've only got 30% of the ball, but even with that, you know, you can hit them on the counter-attack. You could do all sorts when you don't have the ball, and to be more attackingly effective than that. So right now, I am also concerned with Huddersfield. I'm just concerned with that whole bottom 3. The fact that they're 6 points off with 10 games left, you know, you don't want to have the point margin to match the amount of games you got left. I know 6 is less than 10, but the fact that they nearly match like that, I think that is quite a scary thought for them there. And this is a crucial period for them, because I do feel with Cardiff's lack of good goalkeepers, you know, following the 2 red cards in 2 games, they can look at those games, the bottom 3, and to see if they can close the gap on Cardiff if they do lose some games coming up. But at the moment, I just don't back it. I just don't think they're consistent enough, sadly. With West Brom, that's a great win for them, considering Norwich lost, you know, Blackburn lost as well. So they made up a little bit of ground. They're up to 8th place, and they are only 3 points behind Millwall. So definitely got a good chance of getting into the top 6 if they carry on with this consistency. Not their best, but they've managed to get the win with even that not playing at their best, and that is a really good sign. The final game to break down is Norwich and Sunderland. It ended 1-0 to Sunderland, which was a result that kind of came out of nowhere, but it just feels so typical that Norwich look like they've turned a corner, and once again they lose out on all 3 points. Abdullah Bar managing to get the only goal in the game, and really nice goal actually on his part. Brilliant technique to get it right into the corner to make it 1-0 Sunderland. And after that, despite Norwich trying what they can, 70 shots to 11, 5 shots on target each actually. So I've got to say, with possession stats is the biggest difference. I mean, look at that, 72% to 28%. But you could argue with Sunderland having a lot less the ball, have actually done much better with it in terms of creating chances than what Norwich have done. So a bit similar with the Swansea situation here. You know, I do feel like whilst you could be highly possessive, I think it does at time wear you down, especially against teams that are really good defensively. And right now you need to alter your game to make sure that you can allow the team that you're playing against to get stretched, to find those gaps, to get those runners into space. It just feels a bit too predictable and slow at the moment when I saw Norwich play. That defeat came at a really bad time for them as well, because they were in the top 6, but now with Millwall winning and Norwich losing, Millwall and Norwich have swapped places again. And if they do not bounce back Norwich, then this will be tough for them. And West Brom are really closing the gap, and Coventry aren't far behind either. So definitely Norwich will need to improve. Sunderland, this was a big win for them with 3 defeats in a row, and with that win there, it definitely gives them a bit of optimism going forward there. You know, I do think goals are going to come as a problem with the injuries that they've got, but if they can find ways to keep clean sheets, to get for 1 goal to win, then I do have faith that Sunderland will still be able to pick up enough wins. I don't think enough for top 6 now. I think those 3 wins in a row has cost them for that. But they can definitely at least get a top half finish, which will be an incredible season back from League One for Sunderland. So guys, before I do my predictions, you can see the championship table. Burnley and Sheffield United still within the top 2, but the gap between second and third down to 4 points now. Middlesbrough, Luton, Blackburn, and now Millwall return back into the top 6. In terms of the teams in danger, I mean, I may count Rotherham and Cardiff now as teams in danger. I think QPR upwards are safe in my opinion. And I think the bottom 5 teams in danger, Rotherham, Cardiff, and of course Blackpool, Huddersfield and Wigan, all on 32 points. So guys, that is my review nearly done, but we have got a full set of championship games to predict in midweek. You can see on the left hand side of the screen now are my predictions. I'll go through them really quickly. Blackpool, QPR. Blackpool have got a decent home record, but QPR turning a corner in their last game. I think they'll start getting some consistency. This will be a crucial game for Blackpool to win if they want to try and survive, but I don't think they will. 2-1 QPR for me. Millwall, Swansea. I think Millwall may get enough, but I don't think there'll be many goals in this one, actually. I'm going to go for 1-0 Millwall. Rotherham and Preston. Something tells me this will be a draw. Preston with a good win. Rotherham with a very, very poor result in their Saturday game. But Rotherham at home have been much better, so I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. Watford, Birmingham. I might nominate this as my pick for a 0-0 draw of this weekend. I think Watford, with the lack of attacking options or starting options in their attacking positions because of injuries, and Birmingham could be a bit inconsistent at putting the ball in the back of the net, so I'm going to go for a 0-0 draw. In terms of Wigan and Coventry, I don't think there'll be many goals here, but I think Coventry at the moment, with the consistency that they're getting, I think they'll get something. 1-0 Coventry. Middlesbrough and Stoke. That's quite interesting because Stoke have improved their form. Middlesbrough, probably the informed team currently in the Championship, alongside with Burnley. I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory to Middlesbrough. I think they'll just squeak it. Blackburn, Reading. Reading's away record is absolutely atrocious. So this could be a really good opportunity for Blackburn to go back to winning ways, and I think they will. 2-0 Blackburn. Cardiff, West Brom. I don't think there'll be many goals. I might edge West Brom for the fact that they may have a stronger team. I don't know what Cardiff are going to do with their goalkeeper situation, so it's quite a difficult game to predict. But I'm going to go 1-0 West Brom. Huddersfield, Norwich. So David Wagner going up against his former club, which will be interesting. But I'm going to go 2-1 Norwich. I think this one will actually open up a little bit. And I think if Norwich score early, it could either be more than 2-1. But I'm going to go 2-1 here, and it will be an interesting contest. Hull, Burnley. This is going to be a tough one because Hull weren't too bad against Coventry. Burnley got the job done against Wigan. I think we're going to go for a 1-0 away win to Burnley, although they have been dropping points away from home recently. Luton, Bristol City. This is going to be a good game, I think. I think this one will be pretty close. Both sides have got great attacking quality. I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory to Luton, though, but I think it's going to be really close. And finally, Sunderland, Sheffield United. I think this is a tougher game for Sheffield United for what Middlesbrough have got against Stoke. I mean, both Middlesbrough and Sheffield United could drop points here. You know, there's definitely a chance of that. But I think Sheffield United may actually drop a couple here. I think Sunderland may bounce back, and I think they'll definitely build upon that 1-0 win that they got. I think it'll be a 1-1 draw. I don't think it'll be a win for either team, but I think it's going to be a really close game actually between the two. So guys, finally that wraps it up for my video today. I hope you guys enjoyed my championship review. If you did, smashing the like button really does help. 30 likes, as you can see, is the target. If you can absolutely blow me away in terms of my expectations again, maybe I might have to actually consider changing that target, because you guys smashed it last time. If you've not hit the subscribe button, please make sure you do so, because it really helps with trying to get to 2,000 subscribers. We're a good 350 odd away, so if we guys can get there as soon as we can, that would be absolutely amazing. And please also share the channel too, that also really helps. If you want to follow my socials, they're down there, Twitter and Instagram as well, in case you want to have a little bit of a deeper dive of what I do outside of YouTube. But that'll wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are legendary for tuning in this video, and as always, I'll see you guys soon. Take care, everyone.